Hey there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be setting up June in my journals and planners. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, you guys, so I think it was in my April plan with me that I switched up my lineup a bit and I'm loving it. It's working so well. So I'm going to continue with that in this video. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is set up my functional planning. So I'm going to move some of these other books out of the way for now. And for my functional planning, as just a reminder, I have my Hobonichi Weeks, which I carry around with me. And this has future plans through the rest of the year. Just so I, if I need to make an appointment or check my calendar for anything, I can see that in here wherever I am and I have it with me. This is my big planner, which I use kind of like to plan out my days and see what's going on. And this one, I only plan 1 month in advance. So today, although this is my June plan with me, I'm going to finish setting up June. And then I'm going to set up July in here because I'm going to start looking forward to July. So I'm going to start with that. I'm using the Coffee Monster Co. kits. I have to say I'm not really a huge fan of the theme for June. I love the Coffee Monster Co. stuff. Everything she does is adorable. But the color scheme for this one is not really speaking to me. I'm not really loving it. Which is surprising because I love ice cream and I love the idea of an ice cream theme. I don't know, I think it's just the browns, and I do actually like brown, but for some reason I'm not loving this color scheme, so I'm excited to move on to the June one. So let's see, this was the May. I already did May, so I'm going to put that to the side, and this is June, which I already did in here, so I'm going to put that to the side now. So July is this fun vacation one. This one is so cute. I am obsessed with the July theme. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on voiceover as I get that portion put together. And then I will pop back on and talk through what I'm going to do next. As always, if you want to skip the functional planning portion and you just want to watch a certain portion of my setup, that's totally okay. I will have in the description box below the timestamps for each of my different journals and planners that I'm going to set up, so you can jump just to the one you're interested in. Okay, so I'm going to put music on most of this, but I wanted to talk you through a little of the setup in the beginning. So I'm using the Hobonichi Cousin kits from the Coffee Monster Co. They are not designed for the Take-A-Note, but they work pretty well. The only thing I really have to change are cropping down the day of the week header. I'm also checking in my commonplace book there to pick the color of mild liner I want to select to match the July themed kit. And I'm just going to set up the July. I'm going to go back and forth between June and July as I set them up, just, so that I'm having a little bit of fun with it and my hand doesn't get tired or whatever it is. And I'm just going to add in all of my appointments and things that I have so far. So I'm going to go through June and update it. I think I also flipped to May a little just to update the last few weeks or the last week of May, because when I was filling this out, I still had another week of May. I'm also going to update July. You saw me whiting out there. I had a trip to New York City planned for work, but it got moved to August or September. So I whited it out because I'm not going anymore in June, which I'm really happy about because I am so exhausted from May. I had a super busy month in May, so I'm hoping for a quiet month in June, and my calendar kind of looks like that. I don't have a ton planned anymore now that but travel got canceled. So I'm excited about that. At the top here, I'm writing in my priorities for this month, including like relaxing and catching up. And then on the right-hand column there, I'm adding in my project life theme, or like what kit I'm going to use. And so I'm using my craft planner as a reference. On the left-hand side there, I have a column. I messed up the header, so I'm just redoing it, of all of the chores that I want to accomplish. So all of the cleaning things I want to do in my house. And I have gotten questions in the past of what is on this list. And it doesn't really make sense for me to share because it's specific to my house, but it's essentially all of the rooms and places that I want to clean in my house. So like vacuuming downstairs, vacuuming upstairs, deep clean the kitchen counters, clean the bathrooms. All of those things are listed on here. And these are all the things that I want to do at least once a month. Some of them I don't get to every month, and some of them are not. That's okay. But this is kind of my like priority or my goal of an ideal cleaning schedule. I think I'm a fairly clean person, but this is definitely an ambitious list. So I like to, have it all here in case I get to it. But if I don't, that's okay. I use a bullet journal method. I believe this is from the bullet journal method of like future planning, but I use it for tracking here, where in front of each of these items on this task list, I'm going to put a bullet point with my dot marker. And then if I complete that task during the month, I will write the number on that bullet of the date that I completed. So like if on June 6th, I clean the bathrooms, I will put a 6 in the dots next to all of the bathrooms that I cleaned. And that way, when I look in my planner, I can see when the last time was that I did something very easily. I'm going through here and also planning out what kits I'm going to use in Project Life and just working on getting these spreads all put together. Okay, so I finished my functional planners, and then the other two things I have to set up are my Hobonichi Cousin, which I'm in the Avec system, so June is actually my last month in here, and then next month I will set up my second Avec, and then I need to do my craft plans. So I think I'm gonna do my craft plans first because it's quicker, and then for this one, I need to clean all of these guys up. But for this one, what I need to do is go through my magazines and cut stuff out. The magazines I have are Magnolia, Travel and Leisure, Southern Living, and this like free one from my health insurance. But these were all of the magazines that came over the past like month or so. So that's what I'm using to initially cut stuff out for my vision board, which will go on my June divider right here. So I'm going to start with my craft plans and then I will move on to the vision board. So the right-hand side of my craft plans is my product tracking. And I'm not going to share too much about this in this video because I have talked through this in some of my previous Plan With Me videos. So if this is the first time you've watched one of my Plan With Me videos and you're curious about this page, I highly recommend checking out some of those earlier videos so you can hear a few more of my thoughts on how this page came together. You can see though, if you have watched my videos, that I am kind of evolving the page over time to work with what I want to track. But essentially what this page does is track all of my products. So these are all the scrapbook products and craft products that come into my space and all of the ones that go out. So coming in means either I've purchased it or it was gifted to me. And going out means either I've used it, I've gifted it to someone else, or I've thrown it away because it's just not serving me. And I am tracking all of that just to make sure that more products are going out than coming in. That is not always the case, but that is the goal. And when I see that more products are coming in than are going out, I will adjust accordingly in my spending and my crafting and just overall. So I really like having that data. I know I'm a little bit of a data nerd and this might not resonate with you at all, but it is something that works really well for me. On the left-hand side, I'm tracking my project goals. So I didn't go into too much detail in this spread while putting this together, partially because I still had another weekend in May of crafting. So I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to complete during that weekend versus save for June. So I will actually fill some of this out later and you'll be able to see that on my Instagram post that is on my Instagram account. And I shared it the same day as this video. So depending on when you're watching this, you can head over there and check it out. I did put in here as my priority, my project life, which is kind of my priority project at all times, my project life in my journals. And then next, I put Week in the Life because Week in the Life is happening in June and I'm super excited about it. If you haven't seen it, I did share my Week in the Life setup video and my plan for that project. So I will link that in the description box below if you're interested in checking that out. And I will share my completed album here when it's done later this month, hopefully. Next, I also included creative team projects, which I am going to fill out later. And I'm going to try to finish up my Doha and Dubai album and work on some layouts for my mini-me album. I haven't really been working on my traditional layouts for a little bit because I've been so busy. I do want to get back to working on my craft room organization and decor. I know a lot of you are waiting patiently for a second video in that series, and I promise it is coming. It's probably not going to be this month though. I do have a lot going on right now, but I am going to make a priority to get some of the room organized and decorated this summer and share a second video with you guys. Wrapping up my craft planner, I am now moving on to my Hobonichi Cousin, and I'm going to start by just flipping through some magazines and cutting out pieces that I want for my vision board or for my stash of magazine clippings. So while I'm flipping through my magazines, you can see I'm cutting out a variety of things, not just words, for my vision board. So for my vision board for any particular month, I tend to select one image as a background image and words and phrases to go on top of it. But I'm also going to cut out things that I might want to use elsewhere. So I use magazine clippings most frequently in my vision boards, but I also use them on my monthly spreads and my daily spreads in my Hobonichi Cousin. So I want to keep that in mind as I'm cutting things out to select items that I might want to use in some of those other spreads in the future. For this one that came from I'm working on the magazine that came from my insurance company, and it actually has a lot of little images in it that I might want. So I like to cut out images that are things that I might want to include on my monthly spread. And if you're curious how I do those, I do share that in my flip through videos at the end of the month. So stay tuned for the one for May. And the ones earlier this year and all of last year's are also on my YouTube channel if you haven't yet seen those. But these images are going to be saved for that. I also cut out some words that definitely will not be on my vision board, like 4th of July, for example, is clearly not for June, but I thought that'd be a really fun piece to cut out, and I can use it on that actual spread for that day in my journal. So once I finish cutting things out of magazines, which I pretty much decide I'm done just when I feel like it, I move on to putting my spread together. So I selected this image that has a picture of a clock on top of confetti for the month of June. I really liked the idea of all the colorful confetti because that just shouts like summertime and fun to me. I also really liked the idea of using the clock because I wanted to spend some extra quiet time this month and just have some more time. So I really liked that symbol for the month. And so I used that as my base. And then I pulled out my alphas to write out the word June. I decided I wanted to put this on top of a label this month, but most of my labels were cardstock and they were just too thick. So instead I found some thin vellum stickers in my stash. They were too small, but I made it work by covering up the seam between two of them with the N in June. After I adhere down the letters for June, I'm going to work on adding in the words. One thing I do want to add, just because this is the month of June, is finding J's is super hard when going through magazines. So I'm always looking for fonts that I like to add to my alphas, but I also am always looking for words that have J's or other letters that are less common. When I look through my alpha organizer, I have a ton of E's and A's and N's and S's because those are in so many words. So I'm also looking for those rarer letters, and J seems to be the one that I run out of the most because I like to use these letters to write the names of the months, which means I need 3 J's in a year because I need June, July, and January, and there's just not that many J's. So I'm happy that I had one for June, but I did not actually write June on my month like I usually do. I just completely forgot while I was working on this, but I also don't have that many J's, so I might do something different for that, and I'll share that on Instagram when it comes together. After adding some of the words on here, I decided to add some stickers to just kind of mix it up a bit and have a little fun with it. So I'm going through various stickers in my sticker organization to select some to add on here that just kind of fit the theme for what I'm looking for this month. When I'm creating a vision board, I'm thinking about like kind of what is the mood and my goal kind of for the month rather than setting tangible goals. It's more of a feeling of what I'm hoping to achieve this month. And then I will set my tangible goals separately. I don't write tangible monthly goals anymore other than my craft goals because I found that a month is just not that much time for me to accomplish any of them. Instead, I have annual goals and I check in with those regularly. But for the vision board itself, it's really just a feeling of hope for the month. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye.